here at Bayside, which is right on Okachi Lake. That's where you can find us. And it's the Bill Michaels podcast. Had a little bit of a technical glitch in the beginning, but things are good. At least I hope they're good. Let me know. So anyway, long story short, go ahead and let us know if things are working and you can hear us. And because we're back, and hopefully the podcast you can hear the sound. We're just having some technical issues, basically. Anyway, glad to have you. Glad to be back. Thanks so much. There you go. So we ended up switching a couple of things around, and that's what we needed to do. The Packers get knocked off by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay ends up taking it to the Packers. Give them a lot of credit. Test is going to be really talked about. The turnovers, obviously, the fumble, the interception, and then more so than anything, the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands on that fourth down play and kick the field goal instead, which just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So anyway, long story short is the Packers ended up getting beat at Lambeau Field, and that's what they wanted. They wanted to have that game at Lambeau Field. They felt they would be much stronger there. Aaron Rodgers was excited to have it there. The fans were back in the crowd. The fans were back in the stands. The crowd made some noise, and it just wasn't meant to be. Tom Brady, the speculation was whether or not he was going to be able to get to a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, who had more juice, if you will. And turns out it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady ends up taking Bruce Arians and company and the weaponry that he has and that solid defensive front and put themselves right back into a Super Bowl, the first time ever in the modern Super Bowl era that a team that is hosting a Super Bowl will also be playing in a Super Bowl. The Packers, in under Aaron Rodgers, obviously their record, they are now 1-4, and they are, how you doing? 1-4, and unfortunately with Aaron Rodgers, just not able to get the job done yet again. And this one's going to sting because this thing lined up in all the best ways for you to end up back in a Super Bowl, and they just couldn't get it done. And you can say what you want, and I even tweeted it out a little while ago when they were down by a couple of scores in this one. I thought, okay, now do they have enough to be able to come back and be able to you have enough weapons to come back against Tom Brady and company when a good team with a good defense gets up by a couple of scores that wants to take Devontae Adams out of the mix? Do they have enough? And I think offensively throughout the season they did. They just had a couple of miscues and hiccups. But I think the play calling early on in this game was bad. Why in the world, when you have misdirections, you have play action, you have Aaron Rodgers on the move, you have him under center, one of the best play fakers in all of football, and instead you're putting him in shotgun 90% of the time in the first half. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like it. I thought it was trying to be the smartest man in the room. And then when you had the opportunity on 4th and goal, what do you want to do? Do you want to turn it back over to your defense, or do you want to give it one more shot to your MVP? You take the ball out of his hands. Dumbass move by Matt LaFleur. And that's going to be something, like I said, that people are going to be talking about. So, anyway, long story, a lot of stuff going on tonight. Angel says better sound. Thank you so much. Also, Aaron says all good now. We got a lot of people chiming in over on the Facebook fan page. We got them on YouTube as well. Anyway, let's see here. Anything to let Brady advance. Look, it was bad play calling on both, or it was bad officiating on both sides of the ball. They let him play in the secondary. Kevin King, going back, there was a lot of arguments about Mike Pettin in the first half when Kevin King gave up that touchdown just before halftime. And I get it. You don't want to play single high safety in that particular case. You want to keep everything in front of you and force them to kick a field goal. Understandable. However, as a defensive back, you don't let anything behind you. It's the unforgivable. Kevin King had a bad game, and the fact that he's continuously injured, he has games like this where he got caught looking in the backfield. Brady knew it. Brady went after him quite a bit today, and then when you do have a chance to make a big time tackle, you don't. Now, he did. I even tweeted it out when he did it. I gave him credit for it. He did have a really good textbook wrap-up stop in about the midway portion of this contest, but Kevin King had a bad game. I mean, just a bad game. And for a guy that's made the secondary pretty solid all season long, Jay Alexander, he's fantastic. Darnell Savage, pretty solid. Adrian Amos, obviously, playing center field, a good stabilizing force back there. But if Kevin King thinks he's going to get paid when he's highlighted in a performance like this, and also when you're continuously banged up, the big money's not going to be there for a guy like Kevin King. It just won't be. Also, if you want to shoot me an email, you can do so. Go to thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Now that we got all the different audio issues worked out here, but go to thebillmichaels@gmail.com, and we're happy to say howdy to you. Got a couple other things. Let's see here. Drew says can't throw a flag when type of play all day long, and I agree. Look, the officials did not lose this game. So for those that want to say we got reffed again, I get it in certain situations, but they let him play on both sides of the football. They really did. I mean, there was a couple of times where their secondary hanging all over Devontae Adams. There was a couple of times Aaron Rodgers went back to the old Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers and tried to force the ball into Devontae when he shouldn't have been doing that. So we saw that today as well. Again, if you want to chime in though, go ahead and do so. Justin says a lot of missed opportunities on both sides. Yeah, percent correct. Troy says, agree with you, Troy. The D did enough in the second half to take advantage of the turnovers, and the line of scrimmage was the difference. I completely agree there. I thought Kenny Clark had a solid game today, no doubt about it. Got another one here from Agatha listening to us down in Tennessee. Said, I can't believe the Packers aren't going to the Super Bowl. I really was a believer this season. Same old, same old. And why does Matt LaFleur still have a job after that dumbass decision? I don't know why. I mean, you can explain it away in many different facets as to why you think you might have been right. And I'm going to be interested to see what he has to say. But that in every circumstance, he was wrong. He was wrong. Why you didn't have somebody grab him and say, you got to go for this, I have no idea. No idea why. No idea why. Being Megan says, somebody asked Aaron Rodgers why he didn't just run for the touchdown. He had all kinds of daylight in front of him. Look, he made a decision and went with Devontae. Alan Lazard was coming. He was wide open too. We've seen this story before. They made plays. Equanimeous St. Brown dropping a ball right in his hands, and he didn't make the play. This was a game, and I'm sitting here today, and I'm talking about this, here at the Bayside where we're at, which is Bayside on Okauchee Lake, and we are presented by Bud Light Seltzer. But when you go back and you look at this ball game, I'm sitting here talking to people, and I said it's individual minuscule mistakes that all begin to add up. The turnovers, obviously, a bad decision, obviously, forcing a football at a key situation, bad decision. There was a lot of different things. Kevin King not realizing, looking into the backfield. What are you doing looking into the backfield? Why are you not making sure your guy doesn't get behind you into the end zone? He didn't do that either. So a lot of different poor decisions that went into the Packers losing this ball game. And obviously, Ty says, fire Pettin now. Why would you fire Pettin now? I get it. People are upset. But Kevin King was part of the problem. When they did blitz, when people were saying, you got to bring it, you got to bring the pressure, Brady caught it, saw it, and figured it out. Most of the time. The one time he did get sacked coming off of the edge. But most of the time. But why in the world would you blame Pettin for that? Now, you can say that there's certain things that Mike Pettin might have not lined up in maybe a personnel package that would have at one particular point in time would have been beneficial for the Packers. Maybe he didn't change his personnel to match what Tom Brady was trying to do. They got a lot of weapons, though. It's a solid football team. And it's hard for me to blame coaching, except for this is not a fire Pettin thing today. This is, to me, why did you take the football out of Aaron Rodgers' hands? Why in the world did Aaron Rodgers not throw the football the way he should have in that? And he still had a tremendous game, right? He still had a tremendous game. When you look at his numbers overall, he still had a tremendous game. Aaron Rodgers today was 33 of 48, 346 yards. He ended up going sacked 5 times. I told you, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He still had a quarterback rating of 101.6. Solid performance. But it forced the ball 15 times. 15 times to Devontae Adams. Then Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who really kind of had the hot hand today, only 6. Robert Tonyan, only 4. Jamal Williams, only 4. Aaron Jones 6 times, 6 times for Alan Lazard. Then you got Mercedes Lewis with three targets, A.J. Dillon, Equanimeous St. Brown. That was it. That was your targets today. 15 times to Devontae. Devontae is the guy that you would normally go to, but Devontae is also the guy that they're sending all the coverage to. 9 catches, 15 yards today for Devontae Adams. 67 total yards and a touchdown. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 4 catches, 155 yards, had a 50-yarder that went for a touchdown today. He's clearly started to become a better pass catcher for Aaron Rodgers. This is from Tom. Tom says you take the sure thing, the ball at around the 10-yard line, instead of leaving to chance, hoping the defense gets a quick out. That was a terrible coaching decision. I agree with you. Completely agree, and it didn't work out. I don't know why you would take the ball out of the MVP's hands and give it to a defense that and again, the defense has been good down the stretch. They've only been averaging 17 points per game. Give them credit. That's why they've played 9 games really, really well, and all of a sudden you got to fire Pettin again. Well, doesn't he get credit for the 9 games coming into this thing? Look, this was a different contest. I give the Packers all the credit in the world for having the moxie to continue to come back. When they went up, at one point in this ball game, remember, Tampa Bay was up 28-10. Most everybody thought it was over at that point. I give the Packers credit for having the moxie to continue to come back. They got a couple of picks, got a couple of turnovers, turned the tide, got the crowd into it. Crowd was making noise. It seemed like things were trending in the right direction. And then, a couple of 3-and-outs, and next thing you know, it just all of a sudden you're fighting not only the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you're fighting the time as well. So when you look at the Packers, they give the ball up in the third quarter on a fumble. Then they had a touchdown and another touchdown, right? Then after that, in the beginning of the fourth quarter, when they needed it most, they went 3-and-out for -5 yards, and then they went 3-and-out again with no yards. You can't put all that on the defense. You can't. So when the Packers had an opportunity in that fourth quarter, they ended up going 2 3-and-outs and a total of -5 yards. Total of -5 yards. Not going to win games like that. Just not. Then they kicked the field goal, and then after that, never saw it again. So, anyway, defense still gave up 31 points. Okay, I can agree with that. Like I said, they still gave up 31 points. Coming into this game, they gave up 17 on average in the last 9. Again, you can't ask for much more than what they did. You knew Tom Brady was going to be able to score points. I said the game, I called the Packers to win this game 31-24. So I figured that was about a fair spread. So, okay, it flip-flopped by 1 score. We knew that Tom Brady was not going to come in here and be like Jared Goff and be like any other young quarterback that doesn't have the capability that he has, right? Did you think that they were going to give up only 18 points again? I didn't. I think you're fooling yourself if you did. This is not a smash-mouth defense. This is a finesse defense. And every now and then they're predicated upon turnovers, and they get a couple. That's what they did. The problem was the offense gave up the ball too. And when they got the ball from the offense in the fumble and the pick, they turned it into points. Simple as that. The Packers didn't turn that last pick into points. Let's see here. This one's from Leonard that says you play to win the game, especially against Brady. I completely agree. At the very least, you play to tie the game because obviously they were 8 points at that point in time. You play to tie the game. I don't agree with the decision. I don't agree with Matt LaFleur. And this is going to be one that he is going to – this is going to eat at him guarantee it for a long, long time. For a long, long time. Again, if you want to shoot us something, you can. You can simply email me. You can hit me up over on the Gmail, the Bill Michaels on Gmail. You can also hit me on Facebook. A lot of the comments that are coming in right now that we can talk about. And again, you can say, look, this one's from Michael, says the defense still gave up 31. No doubt. This one's from Drew. You can see that. The defense gave us a chance at the end. We didn't capitalize. 100% agree with you. You got this one coming in from Carl from the south side. Why didn't Rodgers run on the 3rd and goal? We had 2 shots. Didn't do it. I get it. He had some room to run. This one's from my buddy Bruce. But why do you let King stay or at least not double team your best receiver? That I can say I can agree with. If King is struggling that bad, and maybe he had the back issue was really bothering him, but again, I go back to your rule of thumb. and that is at that point in the ball game, ending the first half, you don't let anyone behind you. It's that. I mean, it's kind of like, remember when Bostic went up and got that ball and it hit off his helmet, and then ends up falling into the hands of Seattle Seahawks. Okay, and we all knew Jordy Nelson was right there to catch it. And just before Bostic did that, it was Sean Slocum screaming at him from the sideline saying, "Do not touch it. Don't go after the ball." Well, you're yelling at Kevin King. You're telling these guys, coming into a situation like this, nobody gets behind you, period. And nobody gets behind you. And he let the guy get behind him. And that's one of those things, those cardinal sins that kind of unforgivable. So let's see here. What else do we have for you? This one is from Bruce. Our receivers were held all night, and one play King, he held. I completely get it. I don't necessarily blame the refs. When you start getting into refereeing and officiating, costing you the game, come on. You got a chance to capitalize. If not, look at it this way. Brady flopped, got a call, right? Their receiver flopped, got a call. You got to figure out a way. If you're being held consistently, and if you think that you're not getting notified or noticed in that particular situation, then you got to do something to draw that attention. You can't complain about it after the fact. Let's see here. Nail on the head, Bill. No way King can allow anyone behind him. It's completely mind-blowing. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Why did we lose today? This was from Kevin King, one word, listening to us over on the Restream. This one as well. This is from Leonard. I wouldn't re-sign King. Definitely not starter material. He's a good starter. Here's the thing. When you have Kevin King and you got him as a starter alongside the other guys that you have in that secondary, you're going to beat a lot of teams. But when it comes to a guy like Tom Brady is not your average quarterback. He's like Aaron Rodgers. He's a very, very, very smart quarterback. Why do you think he's lasted so long? You can't. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You're only as good as your weakest link. And Kevin King on that defense was the weakest link. And they went after him numerous times today. What else do we have? We got some emails for you. This is from Muskie, who said, did his 2 fumbles lower his asking price? No. Look, we're talking about Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is going to get paid. Period. He's going to get paid. He got hit in the chest. He got hurt. He never came back into the contest. But he's going to get paid. If you think one play or 2 plays like that are going to make a career difference, you're wrong. Look at it. Look at the body of work. I mean, he was a legit weapon. Short of Devontae Adams, he was probably right up there. He was like 1A and 1B to Devontae Adams this season. He's played that well. Give the man his credit. Give the man his credit for what he's been capable of doing, because he has been really, really, really good. Really good. I wouldn't take anything away from him. It's a shame things like that happen. Aaron Rodgers has thrown interceptions in big games. He's still got the big money, right? Now, he's not going to get Aaron Rodgers money, but my point being is a mistake in a big game, continual mistakes in big games, yes, that's going to cost you. But Aaron Jones has proven his worth, and you can just clearly tell he's just a different level of back. So that's the reason that he is definitely going to get his due by the time it's all said and done. What else do we have for you? Let's see here. This one is from Leonard. Says Adams threw his defender to the ground, so the refs were letting them play both ways. Did Matt LaFleur just prove that he doesn't trust Aaron Rodgers on that 4th down? Seriously, just asking. And that one's from Derek. That's a great question. Why would you not keep the ball in the hands of the MVP? Why would you not? I that is mind-boggling to me. So for everybody mad at Kevin King, I think there's going to be quite a few people that are going to be mad at Matt LaFleur waking up tomorrow and realizing this team is not going to a Super Bowl. I don't think there's any doubt about that. What else do we have here for you? We've got some other people that are chiming in from all over. I love this. Love it. Let's see here. This one is from Kristen. And Kristen watching, where's Kristen watching from? Oh, Kristen's watching from Kentucky. Another one from Kentucky, as a matter of fact. Transplanted Packer fan down here. I love listening to the podcast. Can't wait to get you back on the air. Do you think that some of these guys that are up for contract will not be here? I thought Corey Linsley proved his worth. Do you think he'll be around? That's a great question. Corey Linsley, I even made a note of it because he was mauling today. Um, he was mauling today, big time. Big time. And he's played extremely well over the last few weeks, especially last week. If you saw 2 or 3 times, I mean, leading plays downfield into the next level. Um, and I'm not talking about just his man, but I'm talking about driving his man, opening up a lane, letting him go, going for the next guy at the next level downfield. Between him and Elkin Jenkins, I think obviously they're a really, really good combination. But unfortunately, you can probably figure out how to cover Corey Linsley. As good as he is, the one thing that sets him apart is not the fact that he's got the ability to block and be a mauler, and he's been pretty versatile. Not versatile, but he's been pretty durable, I should say. That's not it. What you can look at for him and say is the smarts, is because he's the guy that calls the offensive line and the defensive front, but the line blocking. Okay, so you can look at him and say, okay, does he have that ability to do this with another team? And if so, and if he's that smart and on that same level with Aaron Rodgers, what team is going to pay him to anchor their offensive line? Because as much as I would like to see him come back, I think he's going to command some money as well. They got some decisions to make, the Packers do. That I agree with. Hit us up over on the Gmail. You can find us there. The Green Bay Packers, unfortunately, they get knocked off and they get beat by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And just a tough one. Tough way to go. Tough way to go. We are brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, obviously, and Bud Light Seltzer. Seltzer, unquestionably good. They have the 4 different flavors. You can go to budlight.com and find out all the information about Bud Light Seltzer, and everything that they have to offer. Justin writes, he says, I think that Matt LaFleur is going to be tossing and turning tonight, wondering whether or not he should have gone for this. This is one of those questions that you should never have lingering as your head hits the pillow. You should always go with your gut. I'm not saying that he didn't go with his gut. I don't know why he would have went for kicking the field. It did make sense. And I thought Troy Aikman did a good job of explaining it, because if you go for it and you get it, game tied. Okay? If you get it, you get the extra point, game tied. Or if you get it and you don't get the extra point, you're a field goal away from being able to win the game. Okay? But your defense still has to get a stop regardless. If you get it and you tie the game, changes the complexity of your defense, go out and get a stop, just hold them beyond your 40 and back, and you're going to go to a tie game. You're going to go to a tie situation. On the other hand, if you go for it and you don't get it, you still got to get a stop, right? You still got to get a stop, and you still got to put 8 points up. You still need the touchdown. So when you did it and you ended up kicking the field goal, you still needed to get a stop, and you still needed to score a touchdown. It didn't make sense. And maybe he's got a chart that says this is what you do in this particular situation. This is what you look for. This is what you go. But it didn't make sense to me. Not in that case. And the feel of the game, you kind of got the feeling that they were not going to be able to get the stop or to be able to turn the ball back over to Aaron Rodgers' hands. Think about this. If, let's say, the Packers do get the touchdown and do get the 2-point conversion, the game is you put the pressure on Tom Brady to get it into field goal range. Otherwise, you're going with the flip of a coin. Packers get the ball back in OT, then it's a whole different energy. It's a whole different level of hope, if you will, of desperation, if you will. Or if your defense is able to then come on the field, clean slate, don't give up that field goal, don't give up that touchdown, and kind of do what they can do. Then, who knows? Maybe you force Tom Brady on another turnover. But I think the decision to kick the field goal was just dumb. Just dumb. What else do we have for you? A lot of chat up here today. Let's see here. This one is from Leonard. Says, I would not sign King. Definitely not a starter. Tom says, you take the sure thing, the ball around the 10-yard line instead of leaving a chance, hoping for the defense to get out. I completely agree with that. What else do we have here? Got a lot of people chiming in. Jim says, with 2 fumbles of Aaron Jones, did the price go down? No, it didn't. Bruce, I have never liked King, and Brady went after him all night long. Well, let me say this, Bruce, about one thing. You're going to go after Brady, and And one of the reasons why, you're going to go after King is because you're not going to go after Jair. Kevin King is going, whoever you bring in. If you don't like Kevin King and they decide to get rid of Kevin King and they want to go their separate ways, that's fine. But whoever you bring in, whatever young corner you're going to put in his place, they're going to go after him because Jair Alexander has become that guy. He's become, I don't want to call him a lockdown because I think lockdown is maybe an overused term. It's kind of like using the term great. But he's extremely good. He's right there at that next level. You know what I mean? Or parallel to that. And I really believe that he is that guy. And that's the reason whoever you bring in, Kevin King or anybody else, they're going to see a majority of the action, a majority of the throws. And if they're not on the same level as Jair Alexander and that level of capability, you're going to see the same results. It doesn't matter who you bring in because they're going to pick on them more often than not. You know what I mean? What else do we have here? Because we got a lot of people tonight on the chat. By the way, thanks to everybody. One of our largest chats and one of our largest podcasts ever when it comes to total numbers coming through right now. Man of Mayhem says Billy Turner, human turnstile. He was today. Today he had his hands full. By the way, look, Jason Pierre-Paul, that whole defensive front, but Jason Pierre-Paul in particular, extremely fast, quick off the snap. You got to have your feet almost shuffling by the time he stands up and starts rushing the passer. They ran into a team much like they did in the beginning of the season in week 6. They ran into a team that is very fast, very quick, and tenacious. And that's a deadly combination. You're going to win a lot of games with defense just because of that. I 100% agree. Let's see here. What else do we have for you? This one is from Phil. Phil says, Micah Hyde looking for a great Buffalo tonight for a good win there. Got it? We fixed it. Got it. We fixed it. Yes. Got it. Thank you, Joe. Phil says Micah Hyde look for a Buffalo win tonight. Yeah, you know what? It would. I really want to see. I wanted to see Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. Call it the State Farm Bowl. That was my dream. Now, as much as I want to see Buffalo get there, and I do, I got a sentimental spot for Buffalo. Remember the years under Jim Kelly? They go 4 straight Super Bowls, lose 4 straight Super Bowls, never got back after that. Now they've got a legitimate opportunity. I think Kansas City, it's very tough to repeat. But don't you think about the matchup of Mahomes and Brady, okay? Kansas City going for back-to-back. Brady going for his first Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Brady in his, advanced age, so to speak, taking on Patrick Mahomes. And, again, it holds true that the guy that wins the MVP usually doesn't win the Super Bowl. And Aaron Rodgers is not going to win a Super Bowl this year. So, unfortunate. And you can maybe pick on Aaron Rodgers' play, just a couple of plays. But for the most part, Aaron Rodgers played a really, really solid game. And I thought in that drive, late in the ball game when they scored, when they ended up culminating that drive, when Robert Tonyan got the 8-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers, I thought that was a masterful drive. That was vintage Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers. It was play action. It was misdirection. It was under center. It was fake handoffs, freezing guys. I don't know why they didn't do that early on in this contest. I have no idea why. But it was at that point in the game, it was vintage Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. I thought Rodgers played a really solid game. And he's going to win the MVP. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but it's going to come as a little bit of a hollow victory because this was your opportunity. Next year, his salary goes right through the roof. It goes up exponentially. You've got some other guys to hang on to. This is going to be a different look team next year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let's see here. What else do we have? This one is from Scott. Bill, do you find it suspicious that they call pass interference on the crucial play when they didn't call that all day? The Packers had no, and here's the reason why, Scott. And it's a great question, but when you have the jersey that's stretched out, it's obvious to everybody. Now, what they could have done was called also defensive hold or offensive holding because Zadarius Smith was being mauled. He was being mauled. I mean, he was being tackled behind Brady. So, and they didn't throw the flag there. That was disappointing because it could have just been offsetting penalties, go for it one more time. But when you have that jersey that outstretched across it looked like a sail, for God's sakes. You're not going to get around that. They're going to call that every day of the week, regardless of the situation. This one is from Corey. Corey says, end of the first half scheme, it doesn't make sense. Prevent defense, prevent the touchdown, be okay with the field goal. Corey, we address this. This is what I kind of drives me a little bit nuts, and here's the reason why. Because had they played prevent and they go down, kick a field goal, people be screaming. So they did single high, they did man, they kind of stuck with what got them there, and the problem wasn't necessarily the call. The problem was Kevin King did not hear coaches in his head. In his head, he should have heard, do not, under any circumstance, let your guy behind you. Don't do it. And he did. Like Bostic being yelled at, don't go up and catch that ball. Let it fall to Jordy Nelson in 2014. Kevin King should have heard, nobody gets behind you. No matter what he does, you keep him in front of you. Tackle him at the 1 yard line, but do not let him get behind you. And he did. This one is from Gabriel, said, is Pettine's job safe? No. As much as I think Mike Pettine is a solid defensive coordinator, remember, okay, every year this defense has gotten better under Mike Pettine. This year they ended up being number 9. You can't deny that. As angry as you are, you can't deny that. They were a decent defense. Specifically the last 10 games, they were a good defense. They weren't great. They still need some pieces. But they got better. They got better because they got healthier. And his scheme proved that you can give up yardage, but you don't give up points. Tonight they gave up points, unfortunately. So is his job safe? No. I think that'll be evaluated in the offseason. But I'll say this: I don't think he did anything specifically to cost him his job today. Because he said, "What did Pettine do to save his job today?" Nothing. But I don't think he did anything to cost himself the job either. I mean, when you have 2 turnovers, put it this way: there was 4 series. Okay, now, hang with me here for a second. Okay, there was 4 series. Okay. And by the way, if you want to drop us an email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. There were 4 series the Packers gave to Tampa Bay offensively. The interception, the fumble, and in the fourth quarter, back-to-back 3-and-outs that netted the Green Bay Packers -5 yards. So I don't look at it as the defense continually failed. I looked at it as you turn the ball over, you're going to lose a game. When the Packers have turned the ball over this season, they've lost games. When they haven't turned the ball over, they've won all their games. With 0 turnovers, the Packers were undefeated. When they turned the ball over against this team last time, they got beat. Now, I give the defense credit because they came back with a couple of picks. They picked the tip ball. Jay Alexander came down with it, and Adrian Amos came down with it. So I give them that credit because they did what they needed to do to give the ball back to the offense. But the offense, in one time they scored. The second time they ended up going 3-and-out. So everybody, do you think firing Mike Pettin is going to be the answer? The dumb play calling and the decision late in the ball game not to keep the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands, in my opinion. Because if you're going to say Pettin's stupid mistake at the end of the first half should cost him his job, right? When he got this defense to a top 10 defense this season, then wouldn't you then, in essence, not being a hypocrite, turn around and say Matt LaFleur should be fired for taking the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands? Right? Bad decision. Could have cost you the game. Oh, boy, if you want to hit us again, find an email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And we are out here today at our good friend Joe Hennis's place. Joe's got a tremendous place out here called Bayside. And by the way, this portion of the program being brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget, stop in at Quick Trip. They have everything: pothole pizzas, chicken dinners. They have hot food, cold food, whatever it happens to be. You can pick it up. But out here, they have a tremendous place which has really emptied out. But it was the old Bayside Pub and Grill, which sits right on Okauchee Lake. tremendous place. It's been renovated, decorated. It's beautiful. It's going to change names. It's going to be called Smoke on the Water. They just took it over, so look for that change to come here relatively soon. But whether it's coming out here to even watch maybe a Super Bowl, unfortunately, I know that's kind of pouring salt in the wound at this point, but you can also come out here in the summertime. Beautiful deck on the back. They've got just over the back deck is Okachi Lake. It's right there. And they've got docks if you're going to be out here on a boat and you want to come by and pull up and dock and sit on the deck and have some lunch, watch a game on a weekend or what have you. A beautiful, beautiful place. So I can't say enough about it. We're out here on Okachi Lake. So stop on by and say hello. Let's get back to it. And again, if you want to say hi, by all means do so. Again, we're brought to you by our friends at Bud Light Seltzer. Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good. Go to budlight.com. That's budlight.com. And a lot of people still chiming in via the chat. You can find us over on YouTube. You can find us on Periscope, which is Twitter. You can find us also on Facebook. Another tremendous place to go. Also, say hi to me over on Twitch as well. Just sign into all of them and just search Bill Michaels. And you can find us and you can watch the podcast. The next podcast is going to be coming up Tuesday. We are going to be live. We are going to be in Wausau at Dwayne's Cover It All in Wausau, a longtime sponsor when we had our affiliate up there. And I'm looking forward to seeing Dwayne, his buddies, his dog Gus and company, and just to see the great work that they do. But we're going to be talking a lot about this contest. So hope to see you. For those of you that live in the Wausau area, we hope to see you. Let's see here. What else do we have? This one's from Dirk, and Dirk, pretty much you say what a lot of us feel today, Dirk. What a wasted opportunity today. I completely agree. Packers, I think when you look at this Packers team and what they did against the Indianapolis Colts, I go back to that, and they learned the lesson that day that you can turn the ball over and you can kind of stay with what got you there, and you can come close and or win a ball game. And it's what they did when they turned the ball over and they let the second half score. And I'll tell you this, when you go in at halftime, okay, when you look at the Packers going in at halftime and they were down 21-10, you know what? It's not the end of the world. You're down a couple of scores. All right? It's not the end of the world. And then you come back and you nip away at it, you're down 28-10. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. They didn't panic. If anything, they got more into what it is that's got them there. They got into play action. They got into handing the ball off, some play fakes. They did some power running with Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon. By the way, A.J. Dillon, for those that were tweeting about A.J. Dillon, I think A.J. Dillon can be a solid running back. And he had on that 9-yard run, that was a gam run. He was a grown-ass man. He ran over some people. But 3 carries for 17 yards in this game does not all of a sudden make you the bell cow. Okay? He caught a pass out of the backfield. Tremendous. 1 pass, 17 yards. But his contribution today was 4 touches for 34 yards. Not a bad way to go. I mean, it's a good yards per touch average. I get it. But that doesn't make you all of a sudden the capable one to replace Aaron Jones. And I know, look, Aaron Jones is going to cost him a lot of money. He probably won't be back. But next year when we're sitting here talking about productivity, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. I think they're going to miss Aaron Jones much more than people are willing to give him credit for. Jamal Williams today, 7 carries, 23 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. Not one carry today over 12 yards. I mean, that's, again, a defense that is very fast, flies to the football, and they get it. And they're very short tacklers, too. Today, they didn't miss many tackles. They may have gotten run over, but they didn't miss many tackles. What else do we have here? Boy, we've got a lot of people chiming in today. This is great. Drew says, change my question to, would you be surprised if we just watched Rodgers' last game in the green and gold? I would be shocked. I would be stunned. Now, unless Aaron Rodgers would be so mad that they took the ball out of his hands, then I could say that maybe he would be just like, you know what, the guy didn't trust me. I could have gotten the job done. But the Packers aren't getting rid of him. No way. Ain't happening. Scott hits me up over in the email box, and he said, hey, can you talk a moment about Ted Thompson and what he meant to the organization? Your thoughts as to the passing. Sad that Ted passed. You knew that he had health issues when they told him it was time to step down. I go back to a couple of different times with Ted. Um, One specific, to give a little insight, when he chose Aaron Rodgers, huge balls to do it because you had your quarterback at that point in time, okay? So huge balls to even do it. And you knew you were going to piss off Favre, but he didn't care. He knew what Aaron Rodgers was, all right? So he chooses Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Favre presses the issue for 2 years, 3 years. And then Ted, we're at Fan Fest at Lambeau Field. We're upstairs in the Bart Starr Hall. There's a stage up there, a lot of chairs, if you remember, if you were there. And I was working at the network at the time, and they do these Q&As. So we would bring people up on the stage, and I would, it's kind of like a fireside chat. I would sit there and chat with these guys. And then the crowd would ask some questions. And when I asked Ted, I said, so tell me, set the scene for me when it came time for Brett Favre not to come back. And he talked about that moment and the emotion. He was sitting in his condo. He said the blinds were closed, the television was off, it was going, the sun was going down, the lights were dim, kind of almost sitting in the dark, realizing the course that he is turning the organization. He is taking a storied franchise, a historic quarterback, and he's now moving the franchise in a different direction. And he said he sat there and contemplated that and realized that they had seen Brett Favre for the last time in green and gold. And, whatever else happened after that was sending lockers down and all that kind of crap, whatever. But at that moment, Ted became very real, because Ted wasn't very real, specifically in his press conferences, but Ted became very real. And then I got to tell you, there was a couple of times where it was just he and I, and whether at a Fan Fest or a couple of times behind closed doors, and we weren't interviewing yet, and Ted's talking and he's kind of joking, very dry sense of humor, but funny. You never would have thought that about Ted. So that was interesting. So as I started to think about Ted Thompson, it's real easy to go, oh, Ted, people mad at him because he didn't do enough to support Aaron Rodgers down the stretch. Well, okay, it's sad he died, but, it's not like Willie Davis or, anybody else that's this Packer lore type of person. But Ted did a lot for the organization. He saw it flailing. He made the move on Mike Sherman. He knew where he was. He knew it was going to take some time. And the first pick was his ballsiest pick. Justin Harrell wasn't a ballsy pick. It was a dumb pick. It was trying to be the smartest guy in the room. But he knew. He's like, Favre's a really good quarterback. And I don't have to take a quarterback right now. But I know the talent that's there in Aaron Rodgers. We're taking that if it falls to us. And damned if he didn't, and damned if it didn't work out, So give Ted a lot of credit, because what Ted did was he took the legacy and extended it by another 15, 16, 17 years. And give the man credit for that. Anyway, it was sad to see the passing of Ted Thompson. Obviously, it's sad anytime anybody legendary wise passes, but it was sad that at a young age like that to have to see his health deteriorate. MHK said, did Kevin King write his ticket out of Green Bay along with the D coordinator? I am not paying Kevin King a lot of money to come back. I'll tell you that right now. Being a player that is nicked up a lot, and a guy that now he saw a lot of action because Jair Alexander was not going to get thrown at a whole lot. So he would see the bulk of looks. But again, you look at him and you ask him, you say, waning minutes of the first half, you got to keep everybody in front of you. You're trying to hold him to a field goal at best. What do? He should look at you and say, you don't let anybody behind you. That's exactly what he did. He let him behind him. And the other thing, I'll say this about Kevin King. The other thing that bothers me about King, I like the fact that he can forget plays. Okay, he can give up a big play, a bad play, and then come back and make a really solid play. But when you're down, and one of the reasons you're down as a team is because of you, stop celebrating over meaningless shit. It bothers me to no end. Okay, do your job. Act like you've been there before. It's one thing to come up with a fist pump and say, yeah, and start to kind of build on that. I hate to watch guys celebrate when you're down. It doesn't make sense. There's no reason to do it. None. That's a look at me move, and I hate that crap. Because unless you can continuously back it up, and we all know he can't, shut up. It's annoying. Just my take on it. Just my take on it. What else do we have here for you? Got a lot of people chiming in. This one, Jason says, Packers are cursed in the NFC Championship games. Pettin gone, most likely. That's his thoughts. This one coming into us, this is our buddy Bruce replying to Jason. Him and Mark, too, going on. I must be having some kind of a conversation between these guys. Also, Hector says, I just can't believe that the refs decided at the end of the game to make that call. They look at the replay and not call the infractions that did happen. Yes, the Packers didn't do everything they could, but neither did the Buccaneers. That I agree with. But again, when it becomes that egregious that you actually have the shirt being pulled out, okay, the shirt being pulled out so far that it's obvious, you have to throw the flag. You just do. You have to throw the flag. Mark says, I can't understand. I agree with you 100%. Why in the hell don't you go for it with Aaron Rodgers at the end of the game? This is just mind-boggling. Matt LaFleur has to answer for this. Let's see here. Jordan says, should the Packers blame the referees and be filing lawsuits in many different states to have the result overturned? That, you know what? I can't do politics. I'm sorry. I stay away from the politics. Although I will say this, all the memes of Bernie Sanders watching a game in that chair at Lambeau Field, that was freaking hilarious. I loved it. That was really funny. I like that. No, you're not going to see Aaron Rodgers demand a trade to the Minnesota Vikings. That's going to happen. Susan says, what do you think of the game and the play calling by Matt LaFleur? Why did he wait so long to get back to what it is he's done to get him there? 100% agree. Susan, I 100% agree. We talked about that early on. Why he didn't have Aaron Rodgers under center? Where was the play action? Where was the sleight of hand from Aaron Rodgers? That he's one of the best at it. Why do you take that weapon away? Why do you set him on the side? I didn't get it. I thought it was poor play calling early on. I think, now, correct me if I'm wrong, Packers came in feeling pretty confident, okay? Feeling pretty confident. The way I can describe the feeling that I had about the Packers coming into this game was like, let's say you are an employee of a company. You're like one of the top employees. You know your job, right? You know your job. But here comes the company that's consistently kicked your company's ass. But you're the best your company has to offer, right? And so you're going to go toe-to-toe on a bid with a company, and you're the best. You know it. But you're about to go toe-to-toe proposal-wise or work-wise or what have you with a company that's consistently beat you, right? Okay? They've kind of had your number. So you're walking in with your swagger, but in the back of your mind going, God, I hope we can do this. I hope it comes off without a hitch. And you know early on, you're like, excuse me, this is the way I'm going to present this slideshow, this PowerPoint, whatever it happens to be. I'm going to go through this. And then you can either start out stumbling and fumbling and looking kind of foolish, and then you get into your rhythm. You can either come out and nail it right away and just feel confident going, I'm kicking their ass. This is the way it is. I feel good about this. This is one of the best presentations I've ever given because I'm the man. Or you can look at it and go, this is falling apart fast, and I don't have an answer for this. I can't beat them. I think the Packers came in like the former. I think the Packers came in and thought, we are a team with a lot of confidence. We are a team scoring 30-plus points per game. We're a team right now that defensively over the last 10 is holding people to 17 points per game. We got this. We can do this. Okay? But in the back of their mind, they're going, boy, what happens if this team is fast and physical? What happens if we don't have an answer for this? We're confident. We've been doing this, but And then what happened? They were down, and they had to do what they do. Okay? They had to get back to doing what they do. And then they went, okay, if we're going down, we're going down being us. And then they got back into their rhythm. you know? And then they got back into their rhythm. Then they started running play action. Then they started playing that defense that can pin your ears back. Little more reckless abandon, little more attitude here or there. Not getting crazy, stupid celebrations and all that crap, but just playing more. You're matching them physicality-wise. And that brought them back to the game. Why? But at the ultimate, this goes back to when Mike Sherman was in Philadelphia, remember? And they had the 4th and 1, and he decided to kick the field goal, and he lost it right then and there. That was right when his offensive line was like, he sat in that locker room before that game that night and said, oh, look at the offensive line. We're riding you. We're riding you to a championship. Go in there and kick it. Well, I'm going to ride you, okay? And then on a 4th and 1, he kicked the field goal. And they looked at him and went, you don't have that faith in us. You're full of crap. Matt LaFleur today said, we're going to do this. We're going to win this. We're going to have that confidence. Here we go. And then again in an NFC championship game, he stared right down the barrel and he flinched. He flinched. Instead of going, we got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, you're matching up Tom Brady. Come on. You're playing better than he is. He's got a couple of picks. You're out there winging it. You got this. Go get it. Just go score and tie the damn game up and let's start over. Okay, let's get this done. But he didn't. He went field goal for whatever reason. For whatever reason. I don't get it. But that's what he did. Is that a good analogy of all of this? Is that a good way of putting all of this? Jason said this is the yearly reminder that Kevin King was picked over TJ Watt. You know what? I get it. Okay. It is what it is. Bruce just says, so disappointed. Ben says, with Rodgers' salary going way up next year, do you feel that the Packers are going to be back in the NFC Championship game yet again? I don't think you're going to bring Aaron Jones back. I think Rodgers' salary is going to go up. The salary cap is going to go down. I think that you have paid a lot of money to your left tackle. You're going to have to figure out your center position because you're probably going to lose Corey Linsley as well. King is not going to demand a lot of money. You may, because of his performance and his injury issues, you may be able to get him on the cheap because of what has happened here. You're Preston Smith. Chances are, nah, baby, nah. You know, you're going to have to hit in the draft, and you're going to have to go after the things that you didn't go after this year, right? You've already wasted that Jordan Love pick. That's now out of the way, okay? So now it's back to business. Fortify your defense. Give your quarterback some more weaponry, because if you lose Aaron Jones, he's your second leading guy when it comes to weapons. You're going to need another one. And I don't think at this point you can look at A.J. Dillon and go, yeah, you're the guy. He's good, but he hasn't been enough he hasn't proven enough that he's that Aaron Jones level capability, So this one's from I Have No Doubts over on Twitter that says, who would you like to see in the Super Bowl? Packers. I said earlier I would love to see Brady Mahomes now that this is where we're at. But there is a sentimentality to me where I would love to see Tampa Bay and Buffalo. The old guard, the new guard, Tampa Bay trying to get another win. Buffalo, remember, I have a sentimentality for Jim Kelly in the years that they were so good. And Norwood's kick goes wide right. They get this 4 straight Super Bowls and lose 4 straight Super Bowls. If ever there was a franchise that deserved a Super Bowl, maybe short of like Cleveland, I would probably say it's Buffalo. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Buffalo Bills get there. I think at this point, whatever you end up with, you got great storylines. But I think the ultimate storyline, the ultimate star power is the aging, outgoing Tom Brady and the young who grasped the brass ring last year trying to repeat, Patrick Mahomes. So you're looking for Brady doing it with another team, Mahomes doing it back-to-back. That's probably the ultimate storyline, to be honest with you. What else do we got? This one is, I completely forgot about this. Mark says, don't forget Redmond's dropped interception was just before King's baffling end of the first half coverage was one of my many missed opportunities. You are 100% correct. 100% correct. We didn't even talk about that. 2 drops, that one and Equinemius St. Brown. Those 2 drops changed the course of the game. You're absolutely correct. This one's from Edward, who says, I think you're going to get your wish. Oh, okay. There you go. Brian says, all the best. Brian, you the man. Appreciate it so much. Appreciate you hanging out with us. This one's from Phil, says, aggressive play calling all year long until today. I know, right? This is where it's been, gas pedal, no brake, right? And then in the biggest moment, you hit the brakes. And inexplicably kick the field goal. It's something that's gonna haunt Matt LaFleur for until we get to next season. Got a couple more here, and I know we got a little bit later start today because of the sound issues, but I do appreciate everybody hanging out. Victoria writes, I remember talking to you years ago on the postgame show. Always loved your comments and insight. I'm so glad to find you here on this podcast. Where can I find you consistently? I'm watching you now on Twitch, but do you have a YouTube channel? Yes. If you go to YouTube, go to youtube.com and just search Bill Michaels, and you'll see a Bill Michaels channel. That'll come up. You can just like it and follow it, and then when things like this happen, it'll pop up there for you with the live podcasts and also the ones that are going to take place after the fact. And you can go back and watch them and all that kind of stuff too. So, yeah, that'll be there as well. Ryan says football should reward the Buffalo Bills, even though the Green Bay Packers aren't going to be there. It would have been a great story to see two small franchises go up against one another. Buffalo needs to go. Like I said, if you're talking about football gods are going to probably want to see Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. I mean, that's a tremendous matchup. Both those teams have a lot of weapons, good tight ends. The defense, I would give the nod to when it comes to Tampa Bay. Their defense is better. And in addition to that, I don't know if I'd give the quarterbacking nod to Brady, but certainly the savvy, the been there, done that. Brady just wins. I mean, this season, nobody can look at Brady and say you're a cheater. I mean, unless something now came out, you can't look at Brady and say you're a cheater. Would this not be this season, this now heading to a Super Bowl? Is this not the biggest middle finger affirmation to football fans, gurus, prognosticators, everybody? Is this not the biggest affirmation for Tom Brady in his career? Think about that. The guy leaves New England, won numerous. Goes to the next one. A team that last year they were losing games, but they were losing games by 7 points. They weren't losing games. They weren't getting blown out. It's just that Jameis Winston was making bad decisions. Then he comes in, calms everybody down, becomes this leader for these guys now, and takes the guys that had been either misfits or kind of in the back end of their career, the has-beens, the never-wases, or the guys that got banged up and decided to leave or went to a different team because they get cut loose. And they all end up down in Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady says, we're going to go win this thing. We're going to do our workouts. We're going to get through COVID. I'm going to be the leader. You're going to follow me. This is what we do to be champions. We don't sit around and wait for things to get done. We don't go eat candy or whatever it happens to be and wait for the coaches to call us. We don't find personal trainers that take us one-on-one elsewhere. We get trainers to bring us together. We want to do things on high school fields, wherever it happens to be. COVID be damned. Rules be damned. We're going to do this. And damned if he didn't do it. So I think it's the biggest middle finger affirmation that you could possibly give Tom Brady. Look, I was upset with the Patriots. You've got Deflategate. You've got Spygate. You've got their owner heading to the massage parlor. You got a lot of things spin around that organization. But one thing you can't take away from them, they were able to win. And then when Brady left, everybody went, aha. Now you're going to find out, is it Belichick or Brady? Well, Belichick had half of his team decide to opt out for COVID reasons. So he did what he could, but Cam Newton, I knew that wasn't going to work. And Brady started out slow. Everybody went, Father Time. There you go. And I said it at the time because I said it last year. I said, Father Time, that ain't going to happen. And Brady had a hell of a season. Same thing this year. People said, look, he's washed up. I said, no, man starting a new team. Could not really work out with these guys in OTAs and mini camps. He's a veteran. He's going to figure it out. Damn if they didn't. And he played pretty well. Now, they didn't necessarily win the game because of Brady today, but Brady knowledge-wise, did enough and saw enough to put his team in positions to make plays, and they went out and made the plays, and the Packers didn't. That's the reason they won the game. And their defense is pretty damn good. Their defense supported them. Pack Fanatic said it's on the players. Had to play a clean game today against the Bucs. The Hail Mary was devastating. Without that, they could probably win, and that was set up by a interception from Aaron Rodgers, which should have been a penalty but wasn't. Fumble right out of the gate in the second half. That was a killer also. I go back. I agree with you. If everybody wants to blame all the coaches, fire everybody, it's like, look, players make plays. No coach got Aaron Jones to fumble the football. No coach told Aaron Rodgers, force it into Devontae Adams with Alan Lazard's wide open across the middle. No coach did that, right? So I can't blame it on the coaches. Tom E. says Brady's first year with a brand new team and he's taken them to the Super Bowl. That's unreal. Again, that is affirmation. That kudos to him. I hate to say it, because you're sitting home today and you're thinking this sucks. And it does. It feels like this was it. Everything lined up. Best record in the NFL. Everything happened at the end of the season. You knock off the Bears. You get the wins on the other end you need. Packers are the top seed. Everything fell into place. Rodgers, I want to have an NFC Championship game at home. Packers go, oh, yeah, we're not only going to give you one, we're going to open it up. We're going to bring some fans in. 7,000? That's what they had in there? Come on. There's a lot more fans in there than that. They're going to officially announce it 7 to 9. But come on. So anyway, they give you all that. Everything lines up. This was like when Eli Manning came. Remember when the Giants beat Dallas and all of a sudden it was the Packers hosting the NFC Championship game? You're like, this is it. Cold weather, no problem. Going to win. And you forget that the other team comes in and they're pretty damn good too. That's what happened today. The only difference between Eli Manning and Tom Brady is Tom Brady's Tom Brady. Eli Manning had success twice against the Packers and twice in Super Bowls. Tom Brady has been doing this consistently for a long, long, long time. So, Bazooka DHP says, I do not understand not going for it on 4th and goal either, but strategy worked until the refs threw a bull blank flag. I'm not troubled by coaching as much as I am with Roger not converting the TD late in the game. A player of his caliber should shoulder the bulk of the blame, but he never does. MLF can't be faulted for not going for it on 4th down, given the play calls there. Maybe 40% chance they get the TD, 40% chance they get the 2-point conversion, in my view, which means 20% chance they tie the game. Their coach did his job. No, he took the ball out of the MVP's hands. You don't do that. Not in that situation. You don't do that because it didn't change your scenario. It didn't change anything. You kicked a field goal. You still needed a touchdown to win. If you go for it and get it, you took away the opportunity to tie the game. And then put the onus on your defense. Had you given it to Aaron Rodgers, that's a 50-50, 40% proposition. But when you brought in the field goal unit, you are right. You may have had a 40% shot of getting it. But when you brought in the field goal unit, you had 0 shot of getting it. And you still needed to score a touchdown. You don't do that. You don't do it. It doesn't make sense. Got one more here. What else do we have here for you? Drew says, don't forget Tom Brady's wife, unbelievably hot. No, I get it. We don't necessarily just get into that factor, Maybe we will one day, but Josh says, well, then the refs help you out, you win. Spell check's a really good thing. Maybe we do that. Let's try this one more time here. This one's for Bruce. Does Rodgers renegotiate his contract to help the team like Favre did? That is a great question to end on. I don't know what personally, I think he should. I don't know what's going to happen. But I think if there's the ability to do so. Now, I don't know what the parameters are for the ability to negotiate a contract or renegotiate a contract to give you cap space. If you can do it every year, if you got to do it in a certain period of time, I don't know. I'd have to go back because the NFL, when it comes to contracts, has really weird rules. But I'll find out. I'll find out for you, no doubt. What else do we have here for you? Real quick, I want to get to a couple just before we get out of here. See if I got any Matt LaFleur stuff for you. I just wanted to check and be sure. So, well, I don't think so. Nope. All right, that's going to do it. So anyway, listen, our next podcast is going to be coming up. It is going to happen on Tuesday. We're going to be in Wausau at Dwayne's Cover It All. And I hope you can pay attention. It's going to be a noon broadcast. I'll put out on all platforms. There'll be a notification that goes out. So if you follow us on the Facebook fan page, which is simply The Bill Michaels on Facebook. The Bill Michaels on Facebook. Find Bill Michaels over on YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter at Bill_Michaels. You can follow Bill Michaels over on Twitch. So there's many different platforms to hang out there with us. But we're going to be on Tuesday. We're going to be in Wausau at Dwayne's Cover It All. And really looking forward to that. So we're going to talk more about this loss now that it's set in a couple of days. You had 48 hours to let it kind of sink in. And then we're really less than 48 hours, but we're going to kind of talk a little bit about this loss and about the upcoming Super Bowl as well. And we'll do the show up there and also show you some great work. If you have a boat, if you have upholstery needs, furniture needs, office furniture needs, whatever it happens to be, he does amazing work. And I'm looking forward to getting up there and seeing some of the friends up in the Wausau area. Do not forget to support the people that are currently supporting us. I hope we have some announcements to make later this week as well. And thanks to those of you that are following, because I really do appreciate it. But we hope to give you some more announcement-wise this week. And I'm looking forward to that. So really excited about that. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is that we are going to be doing the podcasts probably 2 to 3 times a week, weekdays now. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to be back out on the road. If you want to have a podcast come to your establishment, let us know. All you got to do is send us an email, The Bill Michaels. That's The Bill Michaels. I'll put it up there on the screen for you so you can see it. And you can just follow us right there, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, and shoot it to us. This place where we're at today is tremendous. It is called Bayside. It is going to be called Smoke on the Water, and it's out here on Okauchee Lake in Lake Country out in the Oconomowoc area. You know what I'm talking about, the Okauchee area. If you're from this part of town, it's just northwest of, say, Waukesha, I guess is the best way to put it. But Okauchee Lake, infamous Okauchee Lake. There's so many good fun parties that have taken place out here. Beautiful, beautiful area. But Smoke on the Water and this Bayside is not only got a huge deck, but it's right on the water. And then if you're going to drop your boat in the water, you're looking for a place to come to, like during the day, get a drink, get some food. Or if you're just driving up and down the street here on Wisconsin, you come by and you want to stop in and get something to eat, or you want to catch a game. My God, they got a whole bank of televisions over there. You can't miss one. Come on in. Joe and Ellen Hennis are tremendous, tremendous people. Want to say thanks to our sponsors, Epoxy Flooring Done Right. Sean and the gang over there, they do great work. Go to epoxyflooringdoneright.com. Thanks to our friends and our longtime sponsor that's been with me a long, long time, our friends at Quick Trip. Quick Trip has been doing it a long time. They've been with me a long time. Continue to support them. Also, our friends at Bud Light, who have been with me now 19, 20 years, I think is what it's been. Go to budlight.com and continue to support them as well. But all of our tremendous sponsors, whether it's Stenny's, MKE Brewing, where we were at last Sunday, just so many good people. We'll continue to list them and continue to tell you about them. But again, thanks for watching tonight. It is a sad, heartbreaking, wind out of your sails type of night. I get it. This is not the way we thought the season would end. But one more time tonight before a crowd of what they considered it to be, 7,772. I thought there were more people there than that, but they certainly sounded like it. So kudos to those that were actually there. But one more time, and for the last time this season, it was the Green Bay Packers upended by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was Tampa Bay 31 and the Green Bay Packers 26. Get home safe wherever you're watching us from tonight. Make sure you're not watching us in the car unless you're parked somewhere. And if you want to shoot us an email, again, do so. You can find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, find us on Twitch, find us on YouTube, plenty of places. But we're going to do more of these. We're going to continue to work through all the technical issues. We're going to continue to do our best to get it right. Thanks so much for watching tonight. It's always a pleasure. Time for us to go. Have a good one.